I say everyone is just having fun and it's just learning how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Good
right.
is not possible.
We're live. Let me present. Let me get my screen going. Let's get that shared. Okay, I think we're doing good here. Okay, so I'm sharing it. Looks like it's good. So hey everybody. We have a special treat today. I have Jan from Let's Play History
Hello.
and Daniel. Is it Aistia? I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. Pronounce your last
Hernandez
name.
Iniesta.
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 Iniesta. Okay, Iniesta. All right. Rules author of The Collapse, which is an upcoming game surrounding the 30 Years' War, of course. I wouldn't say it necessarily concentrates on any one particular era. I mean, it's I think you cover all of the phases of the 30 Years' War. How would you describe what's your elevator pitch for The Collapse?
Well, this is a strategic war game, so it doesn't have to be like necessary on roads. So you can explore your own path, but with some logic. So there's no wrong to say like the Catholics or the Imperials in the games go north if they want to. That's fine, but you will face, I mean, a change on the situation. But it exists on because you have to work on the political to gain victory points, on the military, but also on the diplomacy. And that easy to say because there's not enough for doing everything. So that's also part of the fun of the game. But it
Not quite
covers
enough.
30 years. So, but you can go from up to 2 turns up to the full campaign, which is 10 turns.
Mhm.
And you can adjust. So there's an extra rule that says if you want to extend after your scenario one more turn, you can do it up to, so you can adjust to your convenience. Because that's something I really wanted to make in this game. Is like I'm really tired when they say the scenario you have to stop. Okay, if we
Mhm.
have time and we both won, why not?
Right, right.
Try to
And
bring it.
is there sort of an uh, mechanic, diplomacy wise or otherwise, that sort of would prompt the players to end the game? So let's say it's open ended, as you said, you can continue to play, but is there sort of a moment where Central Europe is exhausted and doesn't really have any more resources? The countries are in debt and try to sort of broker peace somehow. Um,
No, no. Diplomacy is just one tool that it's one operation, but also by the effect there is the polarization effect. So if you don't work on a diplomacy, the diplomacy will move towards that side. So if it's
mhm,
allied to the Protestant, most likely if the Imperial doesn't do anything, they will move back. So you are trying not to let them go too much because there's a prestige, there is a units that you want to make it. But there's no the peace. So if you want to win by diplomacy, you can do it by gaining more victory points. But the downside
mhm,
will be that you will not be able to gain victory points because Saxony, Brandenburg, either you control military or by diplomacy, or you get units or you get victory points. So you have to choose. And in the game, there is the ravage action that it's voluntary, so it's not mandatory. So you have to decide if you want to ravage a city when you conquer.
mhm.
And in the long term, there is an effect. So if they goes to the second level, all the units will be reduced.
Ah,
So progressively, you will have to move around. Of course, there are some cards that says you can move through a ravage region without effect, but you have to be careful on that.
mhm. Yeah, interesting.
So let us begin at the beginning, or the beginning of the begin, as the song goes, right? I assume I am correct that we do not do a planning phase for the first turn.
Correctly. In each scenario,
Okay.
the planning phase is the setup, so it's already done. So it's moved directly to the campaign, which is the playing the cards.
Okay. Now, in this file, I was a little confused as to, and again, this is probably not showing it. Let me reshare my screen. Give me a second. I think I need to do the whole screen. Otherwise, you won't see all the.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
All right, let's get this out of the way. All right. So, do you see everything there now? Okay. Is this already pre-done with the opening cards, or am I I know that this vassal's kind of,
There should be like, if the opening is, I mean, it's not on the deck, because I mean, if you click it and it goes to the shuffle directly. Okay. Okay.
I don't know what's going on here.
No. Okay. Now shuffle into deck. Now it should be available. Okay, I made it myself.
So why? Oh.
I shuffle myself.
Okay, I see. All right, so again, this is just the vassal itself, not necessarily game, but so you have everything out there, and then your intention is that they shuffle in the opening year's cards, right? And does that automatically include the major and minor campaign?
Yes, that's included. So in turns 3, 5, 7, 9,
right,
new cards are added. So if you in the turn 3 you just click it, shuffle into deck, it will go directly.
Okay.
And also when you play a card, you can discard or remove from play. So now if you select your 6 cards, it should go directly into your screen.
Do we usually alternate it around, or does it just one player takes all 6 right away, or
you just shuffle the 6 of it? So in the first scenario, the Imperial has the initiative. So it means that he will decide if he wants to play first or the Protestant.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can just go to the Catholic hand and then draw 6 cards.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so then that filled the deck. Okay, so if I just do that. All right, so again, I guess all right, 6 cards, drawing. All right, I've done that. And it's okay that you see it because we're playing open here, so.
Yeah. And below what you have, it's what is called capabilities. It's the setup on the planning phase, so it's already done.
Okay, so the save file had that already in there. And does that change? That will change based on prestige, right? Over time, is that correct?
The cards that will change at each turn.
Yeah, I know that the cards will, but then the capabilities can change as well based on your prestige level. Is that correct? Am I correct in that?
You have some basics, and then depending on the prestige, the one who has the initiative will choose first. If your prestige is high, you choose 4 extra, 3 if it's medium, or 2 if it's low.
Okay, now I'm trying to look at all these. Give me a second.
And so with the graphic artist, we're still adjusting some of the things, the text, but it looks.
Yeah, it looks good. They look good. Just trying to read through them just a little bit. Sorry. Okay, so now let me go back to my the sequence chart here. And I'm assuming you don't mind me showing these rules, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure.
No.
I would assume, like most companies, eventually folks will be able to download the rules before buying it, just to kind of check it out. All right. So. So let's just go for it, right?
Sure.
Okay, so Catholic goes first. Is that correct?
I think you have. If you play the card, it looks like.
Oh shoot! Hold on, darn it.
Well, and in the case, you have the operations that you can use for operations, or if you choose the event, it goes deducting from the operation points.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you do that
first or not. And even if you want to do 1 operation point, and then after you do this operation point, you decide what you want to do the rest. So you are not forced to say from the start what you want to do.
Oh, so you can actually expend an operational point and do an event. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always going to be 1 operation point besides the event.
Okay. I thought that was. I thought that was more. Okay, all right. So it kind of makes. Should you do that first? I mean, just from an operations, just from a logistics perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't you do it all the events and then all the operationals, or no? Or it can be any combination.
Up to you.
Okay, that's interesting.
So as long as you have operations, the choice is yours.
All right, so I might just for let's no rhyme or reason. Let me try foreign support. And are there any naval blockades at the beginning of the game?
No. And the capabilities, you can use it in your turn anytime you want to, but there's only one time use. So once you use it, it's gone.
Okay, so we don't have any blockades going on right now. All right.
Yeah, because that's a common deck, so.
Right.
Mhm.
There's at least one naval blockade. Okay, we don't have any naval blockades going on. But I can add a naval blockade if I wanted at this point. With this card. Okay. Where would that be beneficial? I haven't, again, I haven't studied the map very well. All right, so let's just say I wanted to add. Is there any benefit to Catholic blockading?
No. It's for the Protestants. So there is some events good for the Protestants that may be in your hand, and vice versa.
So it might be worth keeping them
All
in some regards, right? You kind of gain control over that a little bit. All right, so I guess maybe I'll just do a minor campaign. Okay, so let me do a minor campaign. Where are my Catholic chips? Let me look here. Okay. These are all the Catholic Spanish chips, correct?
Correct. So if you look on the bottom, if it's red, everything is Imperial, and blue for Protestant. This is made for the people with color blindness, so we are still working on that.
Okay, then you're up here in Hanover. Oh, so interesting. So this is because I'm currently set as the Catholic, right? I only see basic information about his elements. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, those are just custom militia units.
Yeah, these are your primaries right here, right?
So you have 3 levels. So you have militia, troops, and veterans. The only difference is Spain has the tercios as a small reference.
Mm-hmm.
And the detachments cannot move. So that's only if you move from from your faction, you can continue movement. But if it's from the enemy, it blocks the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you have more than 7, that's the stacking limit.
Is this an entire stack here in Brussels?
Yeah, as long as you have a leader, it's called an army. If you don't have a leader, it's called formation, which means that if you activate as a formation, you activate 1 point for each unit. But if you activate an army, you activate the whole stack, and the operation cost is exactly the same. The only second condition is that the operation point value should be at least the activation rating of the level.
Right.
So Spinola, which is an activation rating of 1, can activate with any card, which is kind of the good one.
Yeah, he's good. All right, so if I wanted to, just again, this is there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here at all. So if I wanted to activate this stack, that's just one stack activation, right? And if I wanted to move them to here, I could do you go ahead and move with your activation?
The operation, the movement, it costs 1 operation point. So you already spend
So-
1 operation point.
So one. Okay. Again, how many Wow, this thing is crazy.
But it's just for the operation type, right? 1 point
Okay.
movement, and now you can move up to your movement allowance.
Correctly. And that's the 2 numbers. So the first one is the battle, and the second one is the movement. You can
Mhm.
drop off and pick up units along the way.
Mhm.
If you move across cities that you control, it always costs 1 movement point. But if it's a minor city which has no shield, it always also costs 1 point. But if
Okay,
it's
so
a
this-
red shield, it costs 2,
Right.
and the gray costs 3.
All right. So again, I've used 1 movement here. If I for some reason wanted to bypass this in some way, I'd have to spend extra. Is that correct? Or can I
Correct.
even? Is there a zone of control implied by this?
But the only thing is that United Provinces on the first turn is it's out of entry and
Okay.
outside because it's still the 12 years truce. It's ongoing.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
But if you wanted to move, I think you have to drop. If you want to bypass, you have to drop the militia forces at Breda because they only have 3 movement points.
Yeah, I mean, if you move to Arshot because you control it, it's 1 movement point, no problem.
Right.
If you wanted to move to Breda, but you cannot do it on the first turn, but second, yes,
Mhm.
it will cost 2 because
Right.
it's a fortified city, so it will cost
Mhm.
totally 3.
Okay. Well, that's 1 stack, right? From again, I'm expending now. Now, in order to show this, do I just discard it? I just
Yeah,
go
but
ahead and
yeah,
discard it.
but if you do the event, I mean, you can use up to 2 armies, so you can activate another one,
That's what I
and
wanted to do, but I don't.
it's more beneficial for the event because the activation rating doesn't matter, which allows you to move more fast.
All right. Again, no rhyme or reason here, really, but
Yeah,
again,
and
let's look at
also,
this.
I mean, you also have armies in Vienna, Hungary, Bohemia. I mean, I guess Bohemia historically is the one hot spot right now.
That's where it started. So you can move Tilly from Munich just to join Bouquois, who, I mean, historically fought the Battle of the White Mountain, or you can do something else. So it's not that you're doing something, it's a historical or it's not a sandbox, but it's something that could be possible strategically. So your goal is to conquer regions, but in 1 turn, going for more than 1 region, it's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Tilly, of course. Right.
Where do you want to go?
Let's see if I can get. These are my own here. Well, Bohemia seems ripe for, like in our
Excuse me?
our
It's gonna be
But-
tough because to control Bohemia, yes, you have to control Prague, yes or yes, which could be tough. I mean, still you will need to control 3 more minor cities, but Prague, yes. So it's gonna be challenging.
But you could, if you left your militia behind and just pick the troops with Tilly, you could join up with Bukoy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or you can use your cavalry capability, which gives 1 movement extra. But of course, if you use it now, you will not use in a battle or in a siege. So, some capabilities, I mean, have multiple uses. So the one you choose is up to you, but it's only 1-time use.
Mm.
The number on the right is the movement. Is that correct?
Correct.
Or is that...
Yes. And then if 2 leaders stack together with 1 army, one of them is removed back to the pool, right?
They stay in the same. The only thing, the active leader is the one with the best activating rating. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
the only thing is, like in a battle, will only affect 1. But
Right.
if, for instance, there is more than 1 leader in 1 city, if you activate an army, you activate 1 leader, but then you can split the army.
Yep.
So that's why it can be good to have more than 1 leader.
Right.
All right, so I will activate here, and I can expend the cavalry extra movement to bring the militia with me. So that would be like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and then do an extension of the here.
Yeah, but
Yep.
just be sure that you don't have more than 7 units because that's the stacking limit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
1, 2.
6. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I could leave my militia.
Well, that would be exactly 7 if you bring them with you.
Mhm.
I think you have
Yeah,
4
you're right.
and the
Yeah, you're
leader,
right,
and
you're right,
then
you're right.
there's the control marker there.
And you have 3, so yeah, so you are on the stacking limit, so it could go.
All right,
Okay.
so that should be interesting. All right, back at you, I guess. Let me expend that card appropriately. I assume I just discard that card. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I will play Protestant circles for the event, which gives me 2 full strength militia, which I think are independent, right?
No, there's full strength militia. No, it's Protestant, so it's your own. So it's in the Protestant panel.
Yeah. I don't see militia units in there
Protestant.
though. Over there. There they are. Okay. So 1 militia. Oh, is there a maximum, or can I?
The stacking
There's only
limit is
1.
7.
Yeah, but there's only 1 militia here. Well, I guess the other one will then have to go to the Netherlands.
Alright. And you can mix them in within the units from your faction. You can mix it, so it's not a problem that Protestant joins the Dutch.
What is the black and yellow guys? The Hungarians.
So the Hungarians are 1 in Prague and in Pressburg.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then I bring the other one to Prague as well. Okay, and then I have 1 ops point, right?
Okay.
So see the strength point of these guys. 3, 3. Don't want to evacuate Prague though. One point isn't good enough to move Petlan. Torns 2 as well. Well, that might be interesting. Mansfeld could move. Let's see. If I move into one of the largest cities, wait a second, I have to take a look at the player aid. Where is it? There. What do I have to do in order to take control of a city?
If it's a minor city, it's only to spend 1 movement point, 1 extra besides what you move. If it's a fortified city, it's by siege.
Points 3. I just make sure there is no Catholic army around here somewhere.
No one ever expects Spanish.
Look at them.
Okay.
The only thing to keep in mind is at the end of the turn, it is recommended to be in your home region or a region you control, because otherwise you will suffer attrition. Which means to flip one unit from full strength to reduce, it may be not too much, but probably at the end of the turn, you will have losses for several things. So it's an issue.
And that's specifically as you get to the end turn phase.
Yeah, now it's fine. So if you kind of match it,
Okay.
but also it could be good. I mean, if you jump in to the north and you want to conquer later in the second turn, maybe it's worth to be there and just to lose one unit.
So, but I would be allowed to move Manfeld's army to Würzburg, right, and then besiege it, even though it's neutral.
The only thing is that you will flip the counter of the region, so it will show that you will lose one victory point. But I mean, it's going to be worth at the end because you're going to gain 2 if you control the region. So
why do I lose a victory point?
Because that's a neutral region, so that's a neutrality violation.
I see. Well, that makes sense.
Wow, I'm glad that Field of Glory Kingdoms doesn't have that. I'd be.
Yeah. Okay, so then I will rather move to Mainz and besiege Mainz, because that is under Imperial control. I will discard that card.
You place the siege on the 0, so it's just you establish.
Where do I do that?
It's in the generic countries. Generic counters, sorry.
Counters, yeah. Siege 0.
And you flip one of the units from full strength to reduce. Yes, that's for the siege.
Yep. I will flip one militia unit. All right. Guess that's it for me then.
All right, looking on. What is the benefit of playing the policy at this point? For extra resources?
For the diplomacy, if it goes to your, I mean, you are the Imperial, so if it goes to the red, it goes to your ally. So they will enter units in the map. But the downside, if you control diplomatically, for instance, Saxony, you will not get the victory points for the region. But the other things, I mean, on the Spain stability, as it gets lower, it's more beneficial for you because you will get more resources and more tertio points to recover units. And on the downside, the Protestant will try to be, I mean, as high as possible. And the foreign intervention, on the contrary, the Protestant will try to be as high as possible to get more resources and more units from Denmark, Sweden, and France. But if you don't do anything, at the end, it will move one space. So that's why it's called polarization. So the operation point for the diplomacy costs 2, but usually the events cost 1. So it's a mixed match.
Just move onwards with the march. Hold on. So I can go ahead and use the. Wait a second. Sorry, wrong one. If I use, do I need? Oh, okay. So I'm going to use Army March to move and attack. in Praha.
So use it for the event, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you are again drawing cards from the wrong window,
No,
right?
this is no. I was doing it from here. This one right here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, sorry. Oh, good.
Here, I'll put it on the.
Yep.
So this basically allows them to move and to engage in the battle with
And
no
since
cost.
it says May, so you can choose if it's going to be a minor battle or major.
Major difference being commitment and potential
losses, and more units can attack. And also in a major battle, you can use also capabilities, and there are some modifiers. Basically, if it's a minor battle, it's a skirmish or just a small fight.
Yeah, we don't. I don't want to skirmish. we're going all the way in.
Well,
all right,
he
so
will, since he has a leer, he will have the chance to evade, but that's an option.
yeah, that's just wussy.
So that's a major battle. Yeah.
Again, is that kind of deferred until a later phase, or is it immediately enacted?
The problem will be that the losses will be high for both of you, but probably the difference will be who will be the winner. Because major battles as Lutz and Nordlingen will be like 6, 7, 8. So there was not big battles. So you will have to be careful when to use it. So, but it's a good option to see how it works. And you will see when you will never do it again or when you will do it.
That's how I operate. Yeah,
The good thing to do something wrong is when you will see, okay, I should never do that again in this situation. But that's I always tell the people when they play the first time, just try it.
Right.
Okay. Do we go ahead and enact the battle?
Okay. So I assume that he will not try to evade. Okay, so that's the major battle procedure. So.
And do we take? Okay, hold on. Let me get that area of the rulebook ready here.
Oh, that was a separate sheet, but there's an operations player card if it goes better for you.
No, there it is.
Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, let me just walk through this then. Flanders. Okay. Flanders may decide to withdraw. Okay, you didn't do that. So that was step one, right? His decision to potentially do that was step one. Determine possible major battle modifiers. Select up to 2 capabilities, including dummy capabilities, and place them on their side without information. Plus one.
But first of all, I roll a 10-sided die, right? And then
if you want to evade, if you want to try, or
no,
you want to decide to stay.
I want to stay.
The downside, if you fail, you will lose prestige, and that's going to be a bug, yeah. So.
Right, yeah. I mean, it would obviously be wiser to try and evade to join up with Torrent's army, but that's just for the sake of the example. Fight the battle.
Strategically for you, the Protestant.
For the sake of making an example of Peter, I like that. Jan's always thinking about me. All right. Okay, so let me go look at then the capabilities, which are still.
-1 for the attacker if the battle is outside an enemy-controlled fortified city. Is Prague fortified? I guess so.
Just trying to get these out of the way here. All right, so dummy cavalry, artillery. So if I okay, let's just say, just for kicks here, let's say I want to use a cavalry and a dummy. Is that how many they said? Yeah.
Uh,
Let's just say I want to use a cavalry and a dummy. Is that, first of all, is that valid?
yeah, so you get, I mean, for the moment, a +1.
Okay, so do I flip these or I keep these?
They're
the way
removed.
they were?
So, well, the dummy goes back to you, but the other one, it's removed.
So then what is, I'm sorry, then what's the benefit of the dummy as the attacker?
Because you are making a fog of war or a bluff to the enemy.
Okay.
Because if he uses the cavalry here, he will not use it somewhere else. So you may try to make him use it when it's more beneficial for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Okay.
bit of a bluff.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Should I be placing these on a separate mat? Is there anything that I'm doing wrong here?
No, we are working on with the graphic artist to make a separate mat, but for now we just
Yeah,
can't
we
do
just
it.
do it here or whatever. Or do you want me to just, would it be beneficial for me to pull these out onto the main area here at all?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just to show it as my choice for this major battle. See if I put that right. Yeah. All right. So next decisions. Okay, so I selected 2, whatever, just randomly until I figure out what I really need to do. Add the possible major battle modifiers to a 10D roll.
It goes for both
Awesome.
players, this one, so
If the major battle
Yeah, what does my special where's the capabilities chart? Special double the effect of run replace. Okay, so that does not apply. Well, I guess because I wouldn't see your markers, I would probably also drop dummy and cavalry here.
Are you having to mark like a wing or anything, center or left or right wing or of any kind in that regards?
no, it's more abstracted. So it gives
Okay.
what it shows is just you are putting more effort on this.
Okay. All right. It's just effort and deception and blah blah blah. Yeah, right. Interesting. All right. So it's telling me to cross-reference on the major battle table. Is that referring to the, where is that table?
Yeah, you are now, I mean, the modifiers, if you have something that implies.
But when
There's -1 for the attacker.
Okay, so there is not, I mean, adjacent to the sea, so the first one doesn't apply. -1 for the defender if the major battle occurs for non-successful evasion, which is not. -1 for the attacker. So you go now from a +1 to a 0.
Okay.
+1 if there is at least 1 tertio military unit or 2 or more.
I do. I have 1, right? I think there's
It's
1.
tercio or troop? It's troop. The tercios are Spanish.
Right,
Yeah. They have the red bar and the yellow counter.
Mm.
So
Okay.
One could probably argue historically that Tilly brought tercios to, or sort of tercios to the White Mountain, but I guess they quickly were exchanged afterwards.
It's extensive. So, and also there's, if Bucua was Spanish, why he was joining the Austrian army.
Right.
Why Wallenstein was originally Protestant, he moved to Catholic to join the army. So the shift of alliances is even more than Game of Thrones. So
yeah.
So there is one veteran, but the Austria has veterans, so you have a +1. So you go back to +1.
Okay.
And then the battle rating for the leader. So the battle rating is the first one, and the second one is the siege. So both of you have a +1. So total Peter is a +2, and Jan is a +2. So you
and then we cross-reference that.
You add to a die roll, to a 10 die roll, this modifier, and you cross-reference with the strength that you have.
Okay. And this is purely from the attacker. All right.
It will only affect up to 14 strength points. If you
and
bring,
then you got to split it up. You're saying
if
you kind of.
the benefit to go with more than 14, even that will not contribute to the battle, is that if there is losses, you can choose.
That's an interesting mechanic. I don't think I've seen a game do that. That's interesting.
Because some players, they go with the full strength and they go up to the 14 and the best ones. But if you don't bring militia...
So I guess that almost is synonymous to feudal glory kingdoms where you only have a certain frontage, right? Or a certain management capability, really, ultimately, right? From a generalship perspective. Interesting.
So I have 16 and I also have a +2, right?
Is there anything that shifts? Oh wait, yeah. Hold on. Of course, would help if I read the rules. All right, cross. Okay, so let me go ahead and do my D10 +2, and he does, and that's it.
So both of you are in the row of the 14 or more. So whatever is the highest, it's a winner.
All right, hold on. Not me.
You rolled a 2. Okay. Let's see if I can beat that. Yes, I can.
All right.
Okay, so it's a 7. That means I'm inflicting 6 hits on you.
Well, it's a 7 + 2, which is a 9.
Oh, right.
And Peter has a 2 + 2. It's a 4. So
4. That's 5 losses.
So you inflict 6 to him, and he 5 to you.
Yep. And per point, I have to flip 1 or reduce 1 unit, right?
Correct. But you cannot remove from play or go back to the force pool unless everything is full strength. So if you have full strength, you can choose. But you cannot remove a full reduced strength if you still have full strength.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How much did you do to me? 3?
6.
Sorry? 6. Oh, gravy.
So I lose 1.
So then it's just by choice. I flip
3,
I flip 6 instead of
4, 5, and preserve my strongest units. And then these capability things. Oh, I can only return them to the pool.
The capabilities are one use. So, they are gone.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Imperials go home.
Are you out there with your placard?
Well, but that's the loss. Because why you will go to a major battle? Because you will inflict more losses to someone else.
All right,
why it's
beneficial? All right, so let's just retrospectively talk about what the difference would have been. The winner is the fact that it inflicts a higher. Okay, so you're the winner. The winner receives 3 prestige points and takes immediate control of its minor city, which you already have control over, right? Let's go look.
And then I take 3 prestige points.
Yeah, where is that chart?
It's in the diplomacy. It's in the
to the right of the diplomacy track.
But it's on the
there we go.
But here, okay. So that's a temporary.
So
you go from 0 to 3 on the temporary, and the other one as well.
Wait, I move both?
You move both because whatever you win during the turn is temporary. So at the end of the turn, it will be reduced. But you still count it from 21 to 24.
Okay.
That. And that's it. And now you have to check for possible leader loss. But it's only for the one who intervened. If you have more than one, it's just the one.
Okay, hold on, let's look at that. If the loser lost 1 or more steps than the winner, it loses. So did you already take 2 prestige off of me?
No.
So he wins, but you all lose as well. So
Right. So again, there was more of a difference in the loss than
Mhm.
what they're saying. So I need to go do that real quick. Hold on. So I take this down too. Is that it?
Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Interesting. And then later that will affect. What I was seeing is primarily that will affect how many capability cards.
Capabilities, how
Extra
many
capability.
readers can entry,
Mm.
and there is some game
Okay.
effects.
And then also with more prestige, you have more. Obviously, it looks like more control over naval blockades. So interesting. Okay.
So now the leaders may die. So
All right. So both I can must check a possible leader. Only the loser,
both
or
of you.
both sides.
Both factions.
But we
Okay, so
wouldn't
let's
have done
see.
this if it was minor. If it had been a skirmish, we wouldn't have done this.
You will not do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Christian has a rating of 2. So on a 9 and 10 he will die. Let's see. I roll a 2, so he's alive. And your guy Italy is a 1, so he only dies on a 10.
Now watch this. Oh. Because we were taping, I was guaranteeing a 10 on that. All right, so that was a risk. It was worth taking, but I did horribly on it. Okay, so let's just talk about what would have better guaranteed a better result. Like, were there? I mean, obviously, it was a choice to have this battle. What are some obvious other tactics there? Like, can you? Like, are there any other effects that would have weakened them in some way? Do you know what I mean? Like, are there any other events that would have potentially weakened him before I did that?
There are some nasty events, but also the good thing to go for a major battle is besides that you can now also promote units, which in a minor battle you cannot do it. The losses could be so high that if you have someone besieging you and you sally, you go out, maybe he will have so many losses that the limit will be reduced, so the siege could be lifted, even if you lose the battle.
Right.
So strategically, it's good if you see like your last fortified city will be lost, and that will be the loss of the region. So it's good to lose, but the game auto-regulates itself. So if you are too active on the military and not on the diplomacy, probably it's not that you will not be able to do battles. You can do it, but probably you will have no armies. So
sure.
You will have basically most of it is whatever you start the turn is what you end, unless that you do a deploy operation or there's some cars.
Okay, all right. Yes, then you discard your card and your capability tokens, and then I play my.
And you can promote one unit, so if a militia to a troop or a troop to a veteran.
Let me see here.
So if I promote him, and we both can do that, right?
Yeah, you keep the state of the unit, but that's it.
Right. So, but and then he promotes to a troop. Is that right?
Well, I can promote a militia to a troop or a troop to a veteran, right?
Yeah, but the Protestant has no veteran units, so that's also an asymmetry on the factions.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so then it was actually probably a bad idea. No, doesn't matter. Okay, so then I return one of my reduced militias to the pool, promote them to a troop, which, however, is also reduced. Correct?
Correct. But the strength is better.
Yeah. Right. So then I'm doing the same thing. I'm returning a militia to the pool, and then what am I doing? Where do I get the Imperial troop? Am I
Well,
able to just
you have
clone?
to. No. I mean, you can. You just have to expand this folder. You have to
Yep.
expand it. The
What's
same
the-
one that you open now with the
right.
leaders, you
Yep.
have to expand it.
Yep.
Ah,
There you go.
all right. Mm.
And of course, you can promote if you still have units available in the first pool, because it could be that they are already in the map. So
And you're limited by that pool.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So that's all that. That's all that. We're basically done at that point, and now it's back to you. Correct.
Correct.
and it could be a bit more complex, but at the end, it's just sum up the modifiers, decide your strength that you're going, and roll. That's it.
Mhm.
A minor battle, it doesn't cost anything because it's within the movement operation. But the downside is that it's limited on the strength, and you can only use the modifier from the leader, so there's nothing more.
Mhm. All right. I'm wondering if I want to push diplomacy now or if I want to throw somebody out of a window.
It was the second defenestration, and as long as I read about it, it could be that there was a third one, but I'm not really sure if it was correct. But
Given the current situation, what would be the benefit for me to play that event, though? I already control Bohemia at the moment.
so your goal is that the foreign intervention, it goes as high as possible. It will move one space for sure at the end of the turn, but if you want the Danish, the Swedish, and the French to enter, you have to push. And the Imperial can do like the counter diplomacy, but that's your main goal. And also, if you think that you're not going to go for the political control of Saxony or Brandenburg,
Mhm.
could be worth to go for diplomacy, because then you will get these units.
Yeah, I guess that's what I do. I play foreign intervention. Move one alliance one space to the left or the right and flip the alliance card to the side with its name and shield. So diplomacy and well, Saxony or Brandenburg.
And it's not that you're forced to do the event first. If you have one operation point, you can do the operation and then decide.
Mm-hmm. How many units do I have in Prague? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay. Can I drop off and pick up troops at the same moment?
Yeah.
So could I pass through Prague, leave the militia units there, pick some other militia units up, and continue movement?
The only thing is that the movement counts from the start. So if you move 2 spaces and you pick a militia, you can only move up to one more because you bring the militia.
Right. Okay. Okay, well, anyway, then I will push diplomacy first. I will push Saxony and there is no flip here. Clone and delete. Don't do that.
You just flip it a counter, so it just doesn't show the name. We have to work on that and to adjustment the back.
Okay, and just we pretend I did that. And then I have that operation. I will take Thurn's army from Brünn. And what I'm going to do now is The militia units of his force will move to 1, 2, 3 to Prague. Well, all of his units will move to Prague, rather. So that's 4, and then he will. Well, but that doesn't work, right? If I then pick 4 other units and leave Prague with him, that probably doesn't work, does it?
The only thing is, like, if he wants to besiege Prague, there is already 3 units within, so that's the garrison, and what you left behind is what it increase the siege level. So he will have, if he wants to besiege Prague, he will have to have at least the number that you left it. So if you leave 4 plus 3, which it will be 7, so it will be the maximum. So it's
yes, but can Thurn, because if I leave those 4 units in Prague now, then Thurn doesn't have any more units. Can he still pick up 4 other units to make to conform with the stacking limit?
Yeah, I mean, the stacking limit, it only, I mean, you only check it at the end of the movement. So whatever you're doing within, it's fine.
Okay. Well, I guess then question is, where do I want to move this army then? These guys have 3 movement points. 1, 2, can't go to Ingolstadt. So he would beat me there. Okay, so then he takes 1, 2, 3, 4 units to Teplice. And then we are back at 7 in Prague. And the card is discarded. And Peter, it's your turn.
I'll play this foreign support. Shift an alliance 1 space to left or right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at what would.
So since your stability, it's okay. The foreign intervention is not high, so in that too, you are okay. So that's
So
why
I could pull this.
Well, strategically, it could be a good option to move Saxony and Brandenburg closer to you, so you give another flank of Bohemia. So in one way, you're forcing him to keep an army just for the risk. What happens in Vienna? Because you have 2 armies there. So if you move the army from Vienna, be careful. But it's not immediate. So I mean, a siege cannot be conquered on the first time. So you have to try at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be complicated. So it will give time if you move an army and the other try to resist, that you can come back. So it's.
So possibly even moving this here. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you're on one way to get the Brandenburg. And you get prestige if it goes to you. So it's.
And it immediately goes to me if I get here.
Correct.
All right. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, these are the levers beyond the military, right? Yeah. Interesting.
And you can also, one of the operation points from the car, you can left it as a reserve to use it at a later car. So if you left this 1 and then you have a card of 2, you can do it at 3.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could bank.
Because that's the way, because the major battle, it's 3 operation points in total. It's 1 at movement plus 2 extra. So statistically, it's about 60% of the cards, it's a 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's made in purpose.
Interesting. I don't plan on doing any other major battles. I think I've felt the sting of loss too much, but other than that, I can go ahead and use the operational point at this point too. Correct.
Correct.
All right. So then let's go look at what else we can do. It's probably just gonna do a diplomacy. How about this? For each operation, add 2 resources to a factory. Where is the resource counter?
It's in the diplomacy administrative maths. It's on the top. Just here.
Mm-hmm.
And then those are expended to.
During the planning phase, there is one step that says you can use your resource points either from events, from the ravage, the ones that you gain through the diplomacy, to restore new units, to bring new militia, to influence on diplomacy. So that's also the downside. If you are too active in the military and you don't bring resources, you will be able to flip
So I'm
few
thinking.
units.
I'm thinking in the future I am going to annihilate him in some way. So it might be a good thing to go ahead and spend that 1. And do I just move this or do I move that?
Oh, this is the operation point. This is a marker if someone wants to remember how many operation points you use. But the only thing that
this one.
So because 1 operation point, it gets 2 resources to 2.
Oh, there you go.
But the tertius, the Spanish units, you cannot use the resources. The only thing that you will get extra points is through the Spain stability track. So you have the resources, but you can also bring the new units. But if you follow the history,
so if I push my resources, I can eventually push.
If it's lower, it's good for you.
This one being low,
because you will get 6 tertiary points. Each tertiary point is a reduced strength. If you want to bring a full strength, you will have to bring 2, but you're limited on the first pool. So if you have already all the tertiaries on the map and you have not used them, you will misuse these points. And you have to remember in the history, I mean, the tertiaries were fighting the first ones on the row, and then they were just complaining between themselves who will go the first. So historically, they wanted to fight the first ones.
Okay. I think that's it. It's back to you.
Okay. Then let's see.
I feel like we're only going to get through 1 turn, which is fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. No, just think that, I mean, there is going to be a learning scenario which goes step by step from less to more difficulty for 1 turn. So it's just for people to know the mechanics, to play bad, but to learn them. And then you have a introductory scenario, which is the more traditional, which I will show how to maximize your operations for a siege, for a battle. But it doesn't matter if you are a veteran wargamer or not. I mean, it just, if you want to play it from the start, you can do it.
So what would you say was your strongest influence? What was the impetus for you to make this game?
Well, I always loved them in the history of this period, but even though I'm Spanish, I didn't want to make a tertius game. So I wanted to make a game where tertius are there and that you understand the whole picture. So understanding the 30 Years' War without the United Provinces, Flanders, Italy, Hungary, it's very strange. But also, if I'm designing, because there are some small scenarios design, even though that you play with 3, 4, 5 regions, you will still see the whole picture, of the unit. So that's not going to be any mini map because you have to understand that it's a bigger picture. So it's
interesting. Did you, did you personally feel that there weren't existing games that covered this the way you wanted? Was there any impetus for that from that side of things?
There was one game, from GMT in 2001 or 2, I don't remember now exactly a year, which it covered the period, but it just was more limited.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they use is like the card you use for one thing or the other. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There was so many limitations. You had United Provinces in a track, which it means you lose the whole battle. There was no effect on northern Italy, which is a major issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then just if you don't consider the 30 Years' War without the ravage action, I mean it's brutal and it's terrible, but you cannot avoid the history if you want to learn from that. So if you don't explain ravage, although it's terrible, you will lose the sense. And there was no game like that. I know that there is one game from GMT, Could You Region. It's from Francisco Grade, who is a really good friend of mine, and we live 10 kilometers away, or 20, so it's close. But he focuses a bit more on the operational. But
Right.
we're talking about two games. I know that there's one from Compass on the way, but it's three. How many games from Gettysburg, from Ardennes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
every year? We're talking about 2, 3. I think there's market for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are many aspects of the 30 Years' War that worth exploring in games. All right. I will play Siege Established to increase the siege marker on where am I actually? Mines? Yes, on mines by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I will then put 1 ops point in my reserve. And discard the card.
And the siege, when it goes from level 1 to 2, it's just complete. So that's why there's not a 2. So when you will have to flip from 1 to 2, it's you succeed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very good.
I'm thinking.
Take your time.
I think I'm going to play this for its operational points and use it for diplomacy.
Uh,
Okay.
leave Brandenburg alone.
Yeah, no, I was gonna I was gonna stir the pot a little bit more. Just thinking about it, yeah.
But
no.
Brandenburg said you flip it, so I mean it will cost 1 extra movement, one extra point, because I mean you flip it on a previous turn.
So it costs an extra point.
Okay.
Well then let me burn the papacy.
That was through the playthrough. I mean, then the playtest that we saw. I mean, we have a calculation of how the game goes,
Right.
and we see that there was a lot of flip back and forth.
Yeah.
So we have to make this adjustment. But that is the events that they say if you play the event for the diplomacy, you flip back the counter. But at the end of the turn, it will flip back again. So
well, let me burn urban the 8th here.
But that's an interesting mechanic to prevent this from constantly going back and forth.
Yeah.
I talked that with Volko Runke, I mean, just some options, and I told him about that, and it costs 1 more point. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Neat.
Does that not mean? All right, cool.
You control by diplomacy Brandenburg. So you place your control on Brandenburg, but you don't get any victory except 1 prestige.
Where is my control marker here? Am I missing something?
I think it was the
in the generic countries.
Which this one? Correct?
Yeah, and you just remove the one that you have. It.
All right, now where? Hold on. Blah, blah, blah.
That's it. In Brandenburg, it's here.
Wow, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, my German geography horrible. All right.
And I kept the names. I mean, on the language most spoken in the region. So unless the publisher just say that you have, because they will be bilingual, so it will be Spanish and English. So unless they want to make it like one side in one language and the other, I would prefer this because it feels more historical. But
Well, I see some spelling issues in the German towns, but we can talk about that later.
And of course, I mean, whatever you want, there isn't something, even if it's in 2 weeks or 1 month, just feel free to let me know. You get 1 prestige because of the lions, and now they enter the units.
Hold on a second. All right. And then, I'm sorry, what was the last part?
And then you have to enter 3 militia from Brandenburg, which is in the independent, and you enter with the elector, which is Elector George Wilhelm. So 3 militia from Brandenburg and that. And you can enter in any city that you want from Brandenburg, so it's up to you.
So I can basically start him anywhere. So I could literally start in Frankfurt.
No, but I mean within the region, so within Brandenburg, in the city that you want. Usually people place it in Berlin as the capital.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was gonna. That's
but if you're planning to move south for whatever reason, maybe Cottbus.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Cottbus. Thank you for the idea. If I was going to move towards Bohemia, I'm projecting again.
And what would happen now to these forces if I move Brandenburg to neutral again? Do they just stay where they are, or
they will move to the diplomacy mat, and there is a space that says neutral. And of course, I mean, if you attack them or you enter the region, they will shift this space. So
right, okay. Well.
So back to use.
So for all the games, there is always a strategy difference. So I have not seen that one anyway in any of those.
Subterfuge, chaos.
Yeah.
The complete unknown is my complete lack of strategy. Usually is what.
So the Protestant is playing his game as gaining time, and trying to pick the battles to fight. But
yeah,
it's easier to say than to do that.
Yeah. See, that's why you have to force them not to be able to do that.
But on the map strategically, it's set up that the Protestant has more control of the interior lines. So he has, weaker armies, but they are more close to them.
Right.
The Imperial is stronger, but they have to move.
Yep, and they're quite separate.
Just because it's thematical, I will play the defenestration. Set all minor cities in Bohemia without enemy units or leaders to your faction control.
But you already control them, so it's...
Right. Okay, so it would... But I have to play it this turn sometime anyway, right? There's no way to preserve a card.
Yes, you cannot take it. No.
Yeah. Well, then the question is, do I want to bank that point, or do I want to...
You can try the siege from Mainz.
Right. Siege is 1 odd point. Yeah, sure, why not? Discard it for the ops point. Go to Mainz. And what do I need to do for that?
So for the siege, at least you can use for the siege attempt up to 2 capabilities. if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
There is -1 if there is an enemy army adjacent, which is not
Not the case.
There is a +1 for previous siege attempt, yes. So you have a +1. There is no leader inside, and there is a siege rating from the active leader, which is the second value,
A 1.
a 1. So you have a +2 right now. And if you want it, I mean, you can bank 1 operation point from the card for an extra +1. But that's not the case. And it's not a capital, which is the gray shield. So you have a +2.
Mm-hmm.
And now the goal, if it's a 1, it's automatic failure, regardless of the modifiers. If it's a 10, and that's not a capital, it's automatic success. From 2 to 4 is no effect. From 5 to 9, it increases 1 level. So basically, if you get a 5 or more, you gain.
Okay. Then I will just roll a die. It's a 3 plus 2 is 5.
So that's enough for you bank it from 1 to 2. So you control the city.
All right. So I will return the siege marker, return the control marker, and place.
Team Imperials.
Where is my?
I mean, you could flip it only. So I mean, but if
Oh.
I just
And when
place
you,
one,
is there a restriction to that banking where you have to use it with the next card? You know what I'm saying? You can't just bank. You can't just daisy chain the banking, right?
you can only have one bank point.
One bank point, you have to use it with the next card.
Well, I mean, you can. I mean, if you don't use it at the end of the turn, you lose it. So you can bank it on the first card and then use it on the last one. That's okay.
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 All right.
But you cannot do a 3 plus 1 or 4. So the maximum card is just 3.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can just that's the max, right? Yeah.
So you have to suffer attrition of 1 unit for the siege.
Yep. Flipping a militia.
And now, since it's a 1 city region, so you gain the control of the region, because that was the only fortified city. So you gain 2 victory points. Well, it moves to your side.
Victory points.
So he gets lower power. Okay.
And you gain one prestige, and it's permanent. So it's not temporary, because unless you lose control of the region, that stays for you.
Okay.
This, I mean, it may seem a bit strange, the prestige mechanic, but it's made in purpose. So it's to avoid a player who is winning tends to be more conservative. So it forces you to move. You never know the result, but at least you're doing something.
All right, so I'm being an idiot, but that's the usual. What is the? I'm sorry. What is the difference in the depiction of the temporary versus? I'm looking at the prestige track right now, and I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. It's just not clicking for me.
Yeah, I mean that's explained, and I will explain more. Everything that you gain during the game is prestige. So you sum up in the total. That's everything.
Right.
And you sum up in the temporary, whatever you win for battles, for siege, for possible leader loss, because that's temporary. That's something that was for a concrete reason.
Right.
But still, you gain it. So it's the same as a region. You gain it. But at the end of the turn, it will reduce, because that was not something permanent. The permanent is what you control for the regions. And that stays unless you lost the control.
Okay, but where do we keep track of that temporary versus the permanent?
That's the two counters. I mean, the one that says, well, I mean, we have to make a small typo mistake.
Yeah, that's what got me.
Yeah,
okay.
That should be Imperial
right.
turn and Protestant turn. So that's
these are the temporary ones. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what threw me off. That's it. Yeah.
And now, since you have taken control of a city, and that's a that's a fortified city, you can sack it. So that's ravage, which is voluntary. But if it's a minor city, it's a 1 resource. If it's a fortification, which is a red shield, it's 3, and a capital 5. So you basically mean you gain 3 resources.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me see. Resources 1, 2, 3. But I have to place a marker, right? Generic.
No, I mean it's already on the diplomacy map. You have on your resources. Okay, that's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've increased that, but I have to indicate that I have sect mines now, right?
Correct. And you place the yellow ravage marker.
Yep. Okay. Done that.
In Mainz, there is only one city, so you cannot flip it to the second level. But in other regions, if there is more than one city, you have. Well, it sounds ironic, but you have to choose where to ravage or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, back to you, Peter.
I think I'm going to spend. I'm going to spend this card for its operational points. And where was I? For that, I can do a deployment and add up to 2 militias in a capital, and I'll do that. I'm assuming Berlin is considered as such. Is that correct?
Yeah, and here, I mean, since you control the region, you can have militias from Brandenburg. So
Okay.
Do they still have militias though?
Yeah, that's my question. Yeah.
Don't think so.
I mean, I have.
they are in the independent.
So this, okay, I think I might have made a mistake here. When I replaced the militia, I should have removed it from the pool. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Because Brandenburg is in the dependent, so it's fine. So it's no worry.
All right. So, but I can take.
Yeah, you have to open the other. No, you can't take those units. Open the independent units window.
Oh. And then I have to come in with a leader.
No, I mean there is only one leader. So, I mean, but you can bring in more militia.
And I can come in directly to Berlin.
Yeah. So it's automatized. So, I mean, if it's empty, so you will not be able to have more units.
How many militias can I bring in? What is it? 2.
It's 2.
Yeah, it's 2. Sorry, put that back to 4. All right. All right, back to you.
Okay.
I'm assuming you have 2 cards left or 1?
Yep, 2 cards left. I will play League's Revolt, but just for the ops. And I have 1 ops point in my reserve. Let me take a look at the ops. How many points do I have on the resources? 3. The 2 militias capitals or improving a reduced unit, that is not an operation, right? That is happening
So
later.
it's on later, or there is an event card.
Okay. Then I will use the 1 ops from the card to increase my resources to 5. And discard. Back to you, Peter.
Who's Dutch East Indies Company? Is that mine from before?
Yes.
Yours.
No, that was yours from the imports before.
All right. All right. Well, I just have the 1 left. I'm thinking diplomacy, but let's move. Let's because I can't do the other one again. I don't need to do that again, but can't afford it. I'm
So
gonna
if
move
you move
Saxony.
the papacy closer to, it will give more resources.
Yeah, all right.
But that's an option. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, it was that or Saxony. Maybe I was gonna do to pull it away just to really screw with you. But whatever. I'll just go Catholic. That's fine. Yeah, I'll do that. So that burns that, and still get 1 operational point to potentially use. Correct at that point too.
Mhm.
In which case I'll probably. What's the move on these?
Do you want to attack Prague again?
No, but I just want to.
Or because if you leave them in the army in Bohemia and you don't control the region, you will suffer attrition.
So I'll
And
move him back. Yeah. And all these guys can get back to Passau at least, right? Boom, boom. I think, right?
So yeah, you could go Linz, Passau, Regensburg, Landshut.
How much further can I go? What's the movement? I could probably
1 more, or you can drop the militia and continue.
I'll stay there for now. All right, that's it.
Alrighty, I'm playing Maximilian von Bayern. Just for the 2 ops.
Oh, he looks like Charles.
Yeah, he does. And then I have another point stored in the bank.
Oh,
which
you
I have
bugger.
to
What are
use
you gonna
now.
do? Oh, you bugger.
So I will play diplomacy then.
Try to win back Brandenburg, damn it. Did you?
Yeah, I believe I should do that.
or you can do it on the foreign intervention and just get closer. At the end of the turn, it will move 1 space. So that's the decision. Do I want to bring Brandenburg to neutral, or do I want to push somewhere else? Both of them are good. The only thing is.
So when you say it automatically is going to move, I'm sorry, what dictates that in the end phase?
This is in the end phase. I mean, there is a polarization point where it means like they are gonna move.
No matter, but either direction or always to the center or
always to the center. So it will force the other player just to think about that.
Interesting. So it always neutralizes.
So you cannot leave diplomacy by itself. If you forget to think about it.
Yeah, you have to. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting mechanic. Huh. Okay.
Okay, then
There's a degradation of diplomacy. I like that. Huh.
Then I will move the foreign intervention, because that will then cause the Danish to intervene next turn. And that costs 2 points, right?
Yeah, generally the diplomacies too. Yeah.
All right, so then I have 1 point left. Can't do a siege.
There is a free siege attempt at the end of the turn for everything that it's not finished.
So I could move an army somewhere and then
place the siege and then just see if you're luck going for the siege attempt.
Right. Can I actually get to Köln? 1, 2, no. Not with the militia, but that would mean the troops have to suffer attrition, which I don't like. Don't think I can reach anybody here. Nassau, Frankfurt, all neutral. Who else could potentially move? Thurn could move into Saxony, which is neutral. Doesn't make any sense.
So then the other way to gain control of the region is by having 3.
Oh,
Three.
any region in concrete? Are you saying, or
Just general. Well, obviously there's the diplomacy, but the diplomacy means to gain control of the region, but you can sway. What are other ways to gain control of the individual? How about this? Like these are all neutral. How do I just sway one of these, and then isn't there a way to, after you get like 3, that you gain the region?
so? Unless there is Saxony, Brandenburg, and Hungary that can be conquered, or politically or by diplomacy,
Mhm.
all the other regions, I mean, are only by
Only by
political. So
okay.
that's that's the first value. So I mean, for instance, Saxony, which is a 4 in the green box, you have to control at least 4 of the cities.
Okay,
But
that's what I
these
was trying to
4
remember.
needs to have, all the fortified cities, which is the one from the shield. But if, for instance, Saxony, you have to control either Bautzen or Lutzen. If you control both, that's fine. But at least you have to control 4 to gain control politically.
Okay. All right. You're still considering your last card?
Yeah, I'm still wondering what to do with my last point.
You can always bank some resources if.
Yeah, no, not can't carry them to the next turn.
No, the resources, yes. I mean, the operation points is the one that you cannot bank for next turn.
No.
Right, but replacements stays though, right? Or
yeah,
what?
That stays.
So in other words, you could
resources. Yeah, maybe that's the way to go then.
That just seems like a good. That seems like the reasonable default thing to do if you don't have any other idea.
Yes, and that's another 2 point then. There. Okay, that was my last card.
All right, so now we are up to the end phase, right? End of turn phase, right?
Go.
Extra. Okay, I'll just go down the line. So siege resolution. Do we have anything to resolve?
Nope.
Okay, polarization. Move the foreign intervention track 1 space to the left towards value 12.
Will do.
Okay.
Then
move Spain stability to the left 1.
Is Denmark now flipped?
Correct. It's active.
Okay. Yep.
And they enter. I mean, it's already in the rule, but I just remember by myself. They enter 4 troops and 1 leader. It's Christian IV. Enter in Kiel, and you gain control of the region of Holstein/Schleswig.
Yeah.
In the rules, they explain if Kiel is controlled by the Catholic, which is the second option, third, and so on. But
So he goes to Kiel. And how many troops does he bring?
4 troops and the leader. And you gain control of the region.
Oops. This one. 2, 4 and control Schleswig-Holstein. No.
Oh no, this is just have to remove the marker and just place a new one.
Return. Generic counters and flip. Okay.
And you gain 2 victory and 2 prestige.
2 permanent prestige.
Correct.
Permanent and 2 victory. Okay, Peter, what did you say happens next?
Move the Spain stability track 1 space to the left towards the value 12. If Hungary alliance is at space with value 4, move it 1 space to the left.
It is not.
Okay. If the Papacy alliance is at spaces with values 3 or 4, move it 1 space to the right.
It is not.
And then we look at resources. are determined the extra resources received by both factions, extra Imperial resources. Depending on the space occupied by the Spain stability track. 8 if it's between blah blah blah. 6. Okay, so extra Imperial resources. So I get, let me go look at this and then look at the, I'm trying to keep everything together here.
Spain stability, that was there. 6 tertiary points and 8 Catholic points. Or resources, rather.
Okay, so that's that's an either or thing.
No, it's both.
6
the tertius points come later, but now you get 8 resources, so it is in the bottom. So you have the marker.
Yeah, just go ahead and move it all the way to 8. Is that right? All right. And
well, you already had 2, right? So it's up to 10 then.
And is that forcing all this stuff to happen at the bottom? No, right?
Yeah, that's fine. And then also you get from the papacy.
Okay, and then the papacy I get
3 more points.
Additional. And how do I mark that?
Just flip it.
Yeah, very good. You've thought of everything. Okay.
If there was naval,
how Carcassonne of you.
It's lucky there's no naval blockades because you will get reduced and the Protestant will get more. So.
Okay.
Okay, and I get 3 Protestant resources from Denmark.
Okay, so you've done that. All right.
Yep.
Mercenaries payment. I don't think either of us would be affected by that.
They enter by car only.
Yeah. End of turn attrition. During this step, all formation or armies outside of home regions or regions not friendly controlled suffer attrition. With only 1 military unit that is part of them, it doesn't pay 1 resource. If it doesn't pay 1 resource. Interesting. So that's an interesting mechanic.
So
Does anybody outside their home?
So there is the Danish.
Yeah.
You control mines, so that's fine. And that's it.
Hungarian units in Bohemia.
Yes, the one in Bohemia. And also the Bavaria, it's a home region for the Bavarian units, but not for the Austria. But you could have dropped them in Linz and that will be fine. Because Bavaria is not home region for Hungary.
Okay, I would have done that. Sorry, I didn't realize that.
So good.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can leave it with the leader, so it's...
Oh yeah, you can send Bukhari if you want. Or whoever.
Yep.
Okay, so that means the Hungarian units suffer a step loss, or?
Yeah.
But they are
no, but there is only 1 unit. So I mean, if there is in this tax, there's only 1 unit.
Right. So remove to the pool. And is it also the Danish?
Oh no! Because they control the region. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. So there's nothing more.
But isn't that also true for Bohemia then?
Yeah, but Bohemia is a home region for the Protestants. I mean, it's fine. Was that what you? Yeah, that's it.
That's all the attrition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then tertio deployment. If I remember correctly, I get some, right? 4.
You get it later. Now, what it says that if you had them in Lombardy, then you can move them all across the Spanish road, without
Mhm.
suffering attrition. But this is a step that it takes some time for them to arrive. So what it reflects is that now these ones that should be there is because they were placed before. So in the planning phase, you will place them, and then if you don't move them, you can move them across.
Interesting.
All right, so revolts spread initiative. The initiative player rolls 1 for each minor city with no military units or enemy detachments adjacent to a city with. Oh, we don't have any revolt counters out, right? Extra prestige points during a turn. Player can earn extra prestige during this step according to the following: 2 for Catholic if Wallenstein is on the map.
Nope.
That's not. 1 for any player for each volatile nation that is its factions allied of Brandenburg, Saxony, Hungary, Popsy, or England, up to a maximum of 2%. So
You get
I get
two
2.
temporary.
Yeah. Okay. Let me mark that. Okay.
But also use a map. I mean, in the permanent. So all the prestige. I mean, it's on the total.
Mm-hmm. I get it now. Okay. You just obviously subtract it later.
Do I
Cool.
get some for Hungary as well, or?
Yeah, it's alive, so you get 1.
One. Okay, done that.
And I'm assuming neither of us have all 7 electorates.
I have played about 50 games. I mean, me and people. We even tried just to push for the strategy to control the electorates. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
But that's an option.
Yeah.
All right. So then, end of turn adjustments. Place each nation on used reserve counter. Set value 0. So we mark them back to 0.
If you have not used the reserve points, you will lose it. But I mean, I think it was only Jan who used 1, so it's at 0 already.
Okay. If the next turn is not the last turn, the game master, both players can remove any type of leader from the map and place them on the next turn in order to enter the next leader selection. Okay. So in other words, you can. Well, I'm not going to do it, but do you purposely want to do that? If
That
the
was
next turn.
one last, I mean, addition from the play testers, and it just brings, I mean, some redeployment, which it's possible, but of course, you have the limitations. So if your prestige is medium, you can only bring 1 leader, and you are limited, and you bring 1 more. Well, okay, maybe 1 that was in the north, you want really to move to the south. But that's be careful.
It's kind of like a strategic movement for the leaders. Right, if there are, we don't have any ravage counters out, right? If the factions.
There's one in mind.
Yep.
Okay.
What happens here?
And no armies from both factions, not formations in a region, return all yellow ravage counters in the map to the force, or flip all red to their yellow.
No, there's still an army there.
Okay, so that would just stay.
No, but I mean, there's only 1 army from the Protestants, so it means like they are not both ravaged in the same region, so it's removed.
Oh, okay.
If a faction's special capability has not been used during the previous turn, we did use them, I think. We used them in the major battle, right?
No,
we didn't use that. That's right. Yeah. Has not been used during the previous turn. That faction scores 2 victory points. So neither of us use a special capability, right?
That's correct.
So we both get 2 VP.
Yep, it just stays
so
where it is.
It counters balance.
Okay.
So this capability is quite powerful. So if it's in a really important situation, you will use it.
Right.
So, but at the cost of 2 victory points. So
yeah. That's interesting. Okay.
So this is like, I mean, if both of them they go with the card at the last steps, I mean, who is gonna pull the break? I mean, at the last one.
So then we discard any cards remaining in our hand, which we didn't pass on anything, so we used it all. Advance the turn counter 1 space.
Okay.
And that's it. Let me save.
Mhm.
Save the game as Jan and Peter. I also saved a log file too. Let me save that too. End log file. Okay, we just ended the log file. All right. Well, I definitely want to play it more.
Mhm.
I also want to read more. This is the part I love. Is like that's my test. That's my litmus for a game. If I've hobbled my way through it and still am interested in playing it, first of all, nothing outright turned me off about it. I'll say that. There's a lot of variety
Mhm.
of choice, which I liked. I like the preponderance of diplomacy as commodity. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah. I also quite like it. I think there's a lot more to discover or sort of study different
Yeah.
approaches and decide which strategy you want to go and all that. Yeah.
To master the game is difficult, even for myself. But technically, all the rules you already know them. There is some exceptions, but 90% of the game rules you already know them. What it means that we have been talking a lot, but usually the turn goes 40-45 minutes. That's it.
Yeah,
So
that's about it. Yeah. Now that I know how we're at,
now you know where not to play a major battle.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's saved, Jan. We can continue it whenever you want.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll invite you if you have the time to join us. That'd be great. But
just feel free to any question, anything to fix it, and feel free to share the files with whoever you want to, because everything is in the drive. So I mean, everything I update is there. And it just, I mean, I'm thankful for your time and for your help.
It's good. It was, I didn't have any what the heck moments. Everything felt good.
Yeah.
It's a good balance. So I think I need to study the troop types better. Just the. I just need to get into the nitty gritty of the forming of the actual plan. So that's where I'll tell you. That's where I'll give you probably more, whatever suggestions or comments is. I like the ability. I want to be able to generate a plan independent of the rules and be able to, in some way, execute upon that plan. Right.
But of course, that is the enemy. So whatever starts from you, so you can choose your capabilities, planning your strategy.
Right.
And then you just reveal your cards, and it says, "I don't have any siege cards. May help you." So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's good.
That's great about games.
All right,
sure.
All right, we'll leave it at that. And it was fun. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you for your
Daniel.
help.